So, one thing that was a big concern to me, even before I got my Peugeot 407 Coupe V6, was the rear shock absorbers. Because I know this is not an available part for especially for brand new, even for used parts, they are very very hard to find, especially in this part of the world. So it was a big concern. So I did my research, uh, including both the front and the rear. In fact, not just this, the shock absorbers, the entire suspension. So how will I be able to maintain? Because it's one thing is to buy your vehicle, but the most important thing is, will you be able to keep it on the road in good condition? So these are the factors I considered, did my research, and now decided, I think I found a way I can be able to maintain owning a Peugeot 407 Coupe with a variable suspension. So I got one, and funny enough, the one I got also had a failed rear shock absorbers, most likely because the owner couldn't find a replacement. So that's the previous owner. So he kept using it like that until the vehicle became mine. So, of course, you guys already know the extent I went on the recent project I did on the car. That's conversion of the automatic to manual. So that is now aside. So I was okay. It's time for me to deal with this faulty or failed rear variable shock absorbers on the vehicle, which honestly was very uncomfortable. I mean, it was that bouncy, almost whether you are driving on rough or smooth road, it was just bouncing. So I knew if I leave it like that, just a question of time, the springs will break, and those springs are very very important to me. I will explain later in the video. So I said, okay, the easiest way, which was what I came to a conclusion, was for me to use the non-variable shock absorbers from the 407, convert it. It's not that use. I need to convert the rear shock absorber to the non-variable and still maintain the car ground clearance. Because it's one thing is just to put another, but then it messes up the whole handling, and most especially to me, the ground clearance. I like how the factory or stock Coupe 407 Coupe ground clearance is. So I decided to maintain it that way, irrespective of whatever solution I find to the scarcity or the expensive. When I mean scarcity, the point is, some might say, but it's available. No, unless maybe in your country, but over here it's not. What you find here is for the V6 saloon and the V6 station wagon 407. Yes, their shock absorbers are available. Though they are not cheap. As it is now, I don't even know if you can still get the OEM. Even if they are, I believe they will not be that cheap. Some of the ones they say in open market and call it new for the variable 407 shock absorbers, which are only for the saloon and the station wagon. Those ones are just refurbished, and I tried it, we on about two people's 407, and with that engine, swap it with those so-called refurbished one, only to realize they are junks. I think what they do, they'll just get a failed one and do some stuff on it, spray it and repackage it, and all the ones we put, the only difference I could say, they were not bouncing. However, the electronic part of them have all failed. So the warning kept warning that these shock absorbers have failed, the rear ones and the rest. So I decided, no, I won't even bother. Not only that, the Coupe shock absorbers are completely different from every other 407. Not just Coupe, I mean the Coupe V6. At least I know about petrol. I don't know about the diesel V6 Coupe. So but I know for the petrol V6 they are completely different from the saloon, the station wagon, both the 4 cylinders and 6 cylinder, and the 4 cylinder and 6 cylinder. So the idea of looking for them, even on those refurbished ones, is pointless. And even if you get it, obviously, so I didn't want to go that route again or bother about it. So I had to find a long-lasting solution. So now what I did was I said, okay, I need to do an experiment, of what I was able to figure out. I did a lot of research to say, okay, if I try this or use this and join this, yeah, I can be able to do a hybrid one that will make it work. However, until you do a practical part of it, or every other theory you've done really may not make, or not that it won't make sense, but you will really know how successful it will be until you put it into practical. So I wish what I did. And so what I did was I said, no, I won't go for a new, I considered new 4-cylinder shock absorber from the saloon and the station wagon. Any of them, just consider 4-cylinder. So I considered that because not that expensive. No, it's affordable for me anyway. To me, I don't know about any other person. So, but I say, you know what? Let me get a used one to do this experiment. So that if it now works, I find it successful, then subsequently, if I will ever need to change them in future, then I will go for this. But if I can't get an OEM 4-cylinder one, at least I guess the quality brand that will serve as good as, or at least close to the OEM, or maybe even better. Knows. So I got a used one that looks okay, but of course it's not by look. Until you test, you now know if it's good or not. So now the ones you are looking at on the screen are the used ones I got to do. You call it mini project, or it's a project, just that it's not as huge as other projects I've done. So I got this one for this conversion, as you can see. So, and I did the measurement, so that it will help me to know how to do this hybrid that I have in mind, to see if it will work. So this is the one I got. I don't know which particular vehicle was removed from. I know it's 407, but I want to know which engine. But I know it's for 4-cylinder, not the V6, because it's not variable. It's only the V6 407 that have variable suspension. In other words, shock absorbers that are variable. So I said, okay, I measured the two and they all have the same height or length, and this particular one is 59 centimeter. So I said, okay, until I get out the Coupe one that was on the car at the time, then I'll now know how to go about it. So so the one on the screen is the Coupe one. So what I did was the one on the screen is the 4-cylinder one. So I got this one and I removed the Coupe one and did the measurement of the Coupe one. Even before I did the measurement, and it was very obvious that the Coupe one was shorter. I was expecting it. Remember when you look at 407 Coupe, the ground clearance is much lower. In fact, there's no how two of them will be the same height. And what usually give those differences, based on my knowledge on this suspension setup, is the spring, not just the dampers themselves. So the spring is what really matters, or what the most or in fact determines the height of the vehicle from the ground. When it comes about model, if you are comparing with the same model, so the spring is what differs, or what determines how high the vehicle body is from the tires, from the ground. So now you can look at it now. So what you are seeing on the screen, you can see the one that is shorter and the one that is longer. So the longer one, of course, is the 4-cylinder one, the one I purchased for this project, or for this conversion. So while the shorter one, you can see the shorter one has a wiring harness on it. When you look at it very well, let me zoom in. You can see the one that is dusty. Yeah, you can see it brownish. You can see the wiring harness by the side. Look at it. So I see very well. You can see the wiring connector, the wiring, the harness that goes to enter inside the damper itself. So now when you look at these two, heads, those places, the two on the head, we are supposed to be bolted to the upper cross member, the chassis or the body of the car. I think it's cross member that is there. So when you look at those two, you see one. Okay, maybe you're not seeing it very well, but the way they did the 4-cylinder on is actually detachable. In other words, you can detach the spring. So if you want to buy the shock absorber, you don't necessarily need to buy complete with the spring. But of course, if you're buying new one, it will even come with spring. So that's the best thing. But for the V6 one, the variable one, they made it permanently closed. You can't detach and remove the spring, so which is a problem. So they made it like a disposable damper. You're not supposed to repair it or replace it and replace and put on. No, you have to buy it complete with the spring, everything. So now I know, okay, I have to figure it out. It's one of the things I researched on at that time. So so what I now did, like I said, from the screen you can see the variable V6 damper is shorter, while the non-variable shock absorber is longer. So what I did was I also measured the V6 damper, and what I now got was 57 cm. Remember, the non-variable one I purchased for this project, I got 59 cm. So which obviously means yeah, there are two, the two are not the same, even without looking at the two of them, pairing to two are the same, putting the two aside, together to see the length. So but I wasn't discouraged, because like I said, I already done my research and knew what I wanted to do. So what I needed from this failed VC shock absorber was the spring. I don't care whatever any other part of it that might still be good. It's meaningless to me. All I needed there was the spring. I just wanted to swap the spring. Since the non-variable one is detachable, you can remove that head, part of the head where that is holding the spring to the bottom part of the shocks and the shaft. So since you can remove and put it back, the head, so all I needed is to take this spring from this dead V6 variable damper, remove that of the 4-cylinder on that is longer, then put this shorter V6 spring that on the non-variable shock absorber. In that case, it will now reduce the height, because my goal doing this conversion is, one, to find a cheaper and a better way of maintaining the suspension, so I will no longer be a problem. moving forward. Two, to maintain the ground clearance. Nothing stopped me from putting, without even touching anything. I will just take this non-variable one that is longer and mount. But I know once I do it, look at, it's going to increase the ground clearance, at least from the rear side of the vehicle. And I don't want that. I want the car to maintain the clearance, the same height, the height as a vehicle came, So because it wasn't tampered, so I want it to stay that way. I loved the ground clearance. Low, yeah, it's very low, but I don't care. That's what I got. I didn't get the car to make it a truck. I got it for performance, so I want to keep it that way. Some might even want to lower it more, but no, I want it that way so I can still be able to drive it on bumps and the other things. So those two things are my focus on this project. But find a way to now make it cheaper so that every other time you want to replace the shock absorber, it will no longer be a problem. Trying to find one that will match, or trying to get one that is even very scarce, not available. So now it's now cheaper, the availability is there, and now can always replace it anytime and still maintain my ground clearance with a quality shock absorber. So that's why I said I needed this spring, because what this spring from this VC1 will serve is to keep the ground clearance exactly how the car has been even before this project. So now I'm going to show you guys the one I now did. Okay, so you can see. So remember, because okay, let me zoom in here so you understand. Now, because you cannot detach the variable damper, you can't remove the spring from that it is completely welded, the shaft on the damper to the head that is holding the spring. So what I thought I figured out was the only way to remove this spring so that I can use it on another damper or shock absorber is to cut the shaft. I need to cut it. So all I needed is to make a space, find a space, get a welder, somebody that knows what he's doing, so it doesn't affect or in any way touch the spring that I need from these two dead V6 shock absorbers. So what I did was took it to a welder and said, this is what I want. This is what I want. I trust this. So this is about someone I trust that will not going to mess it up, because once you damage this spring, man, like I said, it's not even available, so I may not be able to get another. I don't know, it's possible, but man, it's going to be a hell getting another one, whether it's a dead one, faulty one, or a good one. So the spring is the most important component you are looking at on this ground, including the one I purchased, because you can always buy those 4-cylinder anytime you want. They are not expensive, they are cheap, but this spring, if I lose it, man, I mean, it's going to be a hell to me. So I gave it to the person, and he did a good job. As you can see, look at the head. You can see he cut where he cut from the damper, the shaft, and was able to remove and then bring out the spring, the VC spring that I need. And it was funny because when they cut it and removed it, I was still surprised. Oh, so this shaft even oil passes through the shaft. It's not like the shaft is sealed, as in it's just a rod. No, it's actually, it has a hole inside that oil passes through. So oil gets from the okay, I actually did a video of that. Maybe I'll post it as a second video or something, of where the oil, when it was called, the oil was coming out from the middle of this shaft. So so I now took everything when he did the cut. So I now took the, what's it called, took it to someone that knows, people that can clamp the spring on the 4-cylinder one I bought, because I didn't need. So they clamp it, lose the head, remove the the spring from the old, no, from the dampers, these ones, these two. So they remove the spring of the 4-cylinder one. Since they've cut out the spring from the, I've removed the spring from the VC, so they now put it on the 4-cylinder, connect everything back. But before they put the spring, the VC spring on the 4-cylinder, so I tested, because that was now a good opportunity to now test the shock absorber to be sure they are good. Because when I got them, while they were still on the spring, there's no way for you to know if they're actually good or not. The spring will not allow you to depress to know if they will, it still has the pressure to go in and come out. You will feel it if it's bad or not. You will know. Especially as a technician, you know. So I used the opportunity and confirmed, yes, they are used with very, very good condition. So I expect them to serve me for a long time or for a while, at least. Even if I'm luckily, this is not like aftermarket used one. No, this is pure OEM the car was sold with. So I don't know what's the remaining lifespan, but maybe they will serve me since they are original. It all depends on how you use it. Eventually they wear out, so we'll see. But like I said, next time I will buy it's going to be hopefully an OEM 4-cylinder that will last at least, depending on usage, over 100,000 or thereabout kilometers. So I tested it, confirmed it, and now put back the VC. They put the VC spring, put the head back, and welded it. So remember when I did this, let me go back. I guys understand. So remember when I measured the 4-cylinder on with its own spring, I got 59 cm. When I measured the shorter V6 damper, I got 57 cm. So after they've done this swap, which now made the usable shock absorber more like a hybrid, because it's more like a combination of this and that. So I do call it hybrid, whatever I want to call it. So when they now did put everything, so I measured it. So what I now got on the one I'll mount on the vehicle, what was it? 57.8. 57.8. It wasn't up to that 58, just a little bit low. So you could call it between 56 to 58. So I would say that's what I mean is 57.8, not 57.5. It was a little bit above 5. That's 0.5. So call it 57.5, 57.8. So I was okay, a little bit higher, but not that high. Or like, remember the other one is almost like 60 cm, now 59.5 or so. So it was okay. So but I was there, I was like, okay, maybe it might drop later. So I mounted it, and to my surprise, everything came out exactly the way I wanted it. So this way, after I've done the whole thing, so took it for a drive. This is the first 10 kilometers or thereabout. Then later did the drive, came back, and no, I've done the drive, did about 50 kilometers and came. So this is it. So I looked at it still maintained the clearance that I needed, and so I was very happy. So as of now, ever since I did this conversion, I've done maybe 60-70 kilometers, including a small highway, not highway, just expressway drive, not necessarily harsh drive, but push it, and it was fun. So I really love what I did on this rear shock absorber. This is the best way of owning the 407 coupe. This is now, I know I've lost the best of the best the car can offer in terms of road handling. Yes, I know that it's no longer there. I mean, the best you know. However, anybody that have driven the 407 understand, especially the coupe, it's not just the shock absorber that is doing that low handling work. The cars is just something else. So it's there. It didn't. In fact, I didn't feel. I would say I didn't feel much difference. The only thing, like I said, I didn't drive it that harsh, like push it very hard in a corner to see how it will behave on high speed. So I didn't do it to see what was going to happen. But I knew, yeah, this variable way is no longer there. I didn't feel it, but I know it's not there. So no point expecting it. However, now because this car has become stick shift, because it has become manual, you probably may not even bother anymore. I don't bother anymore because the manual now give you the chance to handle the car anyhow you want, make the car behave anyhow you want. So variable or not variable is no longer important to me. This is because this is one of the things I was I enjoy in my 406v6 manual. No ESP, not so you just put it anyhow you want the car. You now get to be the one to control the handle. I don't know how to do it. So it's fun now. Unlike the variable one that the electronic will be doing it for you. No, this time you get to do it yourself. So it's fun. Putting out your skill, acquiring more. No, it is. If anybody that don't find it fun, unfortunately for you, you're not a car person, and there's nothing I can do about it. When you drive fun cars, you understand what I mean. You get when you see yourself learning, see your potential, what you can do behind the wheel with the vehicle, not what the vehicle can do. No, you tell the vehicle this is what you want. So this is what this man and I allow. So I didn't even feel that non-valuable. Now some might say, okay, how did I because it's variable, electrically controlled and the rest, what about the electronic part of the electrical part of the car? It's supposed to be giving you one. So what I did was, after I did this installation with my team, this hybrid team, so I pulled out my system, plug in my PP2000. So and I started the programming. That way I could call it the configuration. So I did the configuration, some ECUs on the vehicle, trying to tell it right now the car no longer had a variable. So it uses just the mechanical suspension, pure mechanical, the shock absorber, pure suspension, not necessarily, not just the shock absorber. So I did all those settings, and when the engine started, not even one single warning came up about the variable suspension. Of course, before I did this, that the shock absorbers were bad even before I got the car. So the warning was just immediately the engine is starting, give it a second or less, it will pop up. Suspension faulty, this and that, Even while you are driving, every once in a while it will pop up again, your suspension is faulty, the warning everywhere. On the instrument panel, on the navigation screen, on display, But now I did everything, it's gone. It's gone. So like I said, I've done 60-70 kilometers, gone. Nothing as if the car never even had a variable suspension from new. So that's I like I said, I took my time, I did my research. While I was doing the research on the mechanical part, I was also researching on, okay, how do I tweak this vehicle electronic, knowing that this CAN system, almost everything are interconnected. So how do I make it so that none of the system will shut down because this one is no longer functioning? Or none of the system will start warning you, why is this one not working? It's not there, what's wrong? I keep giving you warning, So I did all those research with my system, checking the entire ECUs to know which one can I reconfigure, reprogram so that this will work, which one will I leave so that the other one will not see it as a problem when you change the system or change the configuration and start warning. Those are the things I did before, and I decided, it's time to do this conversion. So I believe anyone who is interested, it means Maybe some other people have done it. It's most likely possible. So now I've done it. You can do it too. For the saloon station wagon VCs, you probably may not need to bother about this because yours is at least available, both second hand and new one. Though it's just that they're not that cheap. The thing about the second hand is most times they are also bad. There's no way you will know. Remember, you can't even detach the spring. To remove the spring, you have to damage the entire shock absorber. So you need to understand. So you won't know until you mount it. Doesn't matter how new it looks until you mount it. Then if there is no warning, then it's good. If it doesn't bounce, then it's good. So otherwise, I mean, these are used something. It's most likely they are already on their last leg of life. So if you want, you could still do it the way I did on this my own. Like I said, it's all every VC can do this. VC 407, but that saloon, coupe, or station wagon. It's just that you have more for the saloon and station wagon. You have options. You may not need to go this already for the coupe. Don't even bother, because even when you get the saloon, this thing, they are not the same. All these things, their springs are different. So one way or the other, it will affect. Unless you don't care about the ground clearance, you still want. And remember, when you change the variable shock absorbers, you need to program the vehicle. That's what you need to know. You need to start programming the car to adapt to the. Otherwise, the car, the ground clearance may shoot up like a truck. It will mess up. So if you put maybe a saloon one, it may be a problem because the ECU has already been programmed to give a certain height, and this one has a different setting. Anyway, I'm not. Maybe you might be able to set it to give you the ground clearance of the coupe with the saloon one, or maybe not. But I know they are not the same, especially their springs. They are not the same, and you can't detach them. I'm talking about the rear one. So you have the option to get used one or buy new, which is, in fact, for example, let's assume there is a new coupe V6 petrol shock absorber OEM. The cost of buying it probably not even Nigeria. You may have to import it. Can as well buy you another car. Maybe, something else that might cost you close to, I don't know. Don't want to call a figure. They are not cheap. That's the point. So now I find a very solution, a very cheap and to me, yeah, permanent solution. Yeah, cheap and permanent solution to this. That's the best way to handle this. I mean, I don't the car, push it the way I want, not too hard, but man, I couldn't feel any different. So this is it. So anybody who is interested now, you know how you can go about and do yours. Or you don't have to be worried about suspension shock absorber for the coupe. The front one is not a big deal. They're basically the same with the other V6. Only the springs are different, so you cannot really jam. But the springs are also detachable for the front. So like I said, you don't have to worry yourself about the front one. But the rear one, that's where the problem is. And they also cost more than the front because of that sealed unit. They made it so you can't detach. You have to change completely. Okay, so that's all for this video.